Once upon a time during Gautam Buddha's era, there was a woman named AmraPali. She was very famous and extremely beautiful. Even though she worked as a prostitute, her beauty attracted many admirers. People even lined up with golden chariots at her palace gates just to catch a glimpse of her. Kings had to wait for their turn to see her because she was so popular. Please feel free to type wisdom in the comment section if this message resonates with your spirit. Your participation extends the reach of this message, touching more lives and spreading the message of faith and hope. Stay with us until the end of this video. Open your heart and be ready to receive the uplifting power of this video. Click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and enable notifications to stay updated with more content that nourishes the soul and uplifts the spirit. Despite her wealth and popularity, AmraPali felt lonely inside. She had everything money could buy, but deep down, she longed for true love and companionship. People in the town called her the wife of the whole town, which showed how everyone admired her. However, behind the glamour, AmraPali yearned for something deeper than material wealth. She wanted a love that went beyond appearances and societal expectations, a love that touched her soul. One day, while standing on her terrace, AmraPali spotted a young Buddhist monk. He had nothing but a simple begging bowl, yet his presence exuded a remarkable aura of awareness and grace. Captivated by his charm, she hurried down to meet him. "Dear monk," she said eagerly, "please accept my humble offering of food at my home." The monk graciously accepted her invitation. As she served him food, AmraPali spoke, "In just 3 days, the rainy season will begin. I would like to extend an invitation for you to stay in my home for the duration of 4 months. Typically during the rainy season, Buddhist monks remain stationary for 4 months, refraining from travel. It is a tradition for them to stay in one place during this time, while for the remaining 8 months, they continue their journey. Ordinarily, they aren't permitted to stay in one location for more than 3 days. The young monk replied, "I will consult with my master. If he permits, then I will accept your gracious invitation." With that, he departed. Before the young monk could reach the assembly, his fellow monks who had witnessed the interaction hurried to Buddha. Concerned, they expressed their worry. "Master, the young monk must be stopped. AmraPali has invited him to her house to stay for 4 months. It is not appropriate for a monk to reside in the house of a prostitute." Buddha, however, calmly instructed them, "Remain calm and silent. Let him come." The young monk approached Buddha and humbly touched his feet, recounting the entire story. "Lord," he began, "a woman has kindly invited me to stay in her house for the 4-month rainy season period. Just as every monk stays somewhere during this time, I too must find a place to stay. However, I will only go with your permission." Buddha gazed into the monk's eyes and replied, "You have my blessing to stay there." The decision shocked the thousands of monks present. They couldn't believe that Buddha had permitted a monk to stay in a prostitute's house. Rising to their feet, the monks voiced their concerns, insisting that something was amiss. They argued that the monk was concealing the truth, asserting that it wasn't just any woman who had extended the invitation, but AmraPali, a well-known prostitute. They questioned how a monk could possibly reside in the house of a prostitute for 4 months. In the realm of meditation, the depth of a monk's practice holds the power to transform both himself and others. If his meditation runs deep, he will influence the prostitute positively. However, if his meditation lacks depth, he may be influenced by her physical allure instead. Thus, it becomes a delicate balance between the strength of meditation and the pull of physical attraction. Despite these considerations, Buddha advised his disciples to wait patiently for the 4 months to pass. However, some among them felt that Buddha was placing too much trust in the young monk. They believed he was taking an unnecessary risk, given the monk's youth and AmraPali's exceptional beauty. After the passage of 4 months, the young monk returned and respectfully touched Buddha's feet. Following closely behind him, AmraPali also approached and humbly touched Buddha's feet. She spoke, "O Lord, I exerted all efforts to tempt this young monk, but to no avail. Instead, he enlightened me with his profound awareness, showing me that true fulfillment lies in understanding oneself. Now, I wish to donate all my possessions to the monk community. It is said that later on AmraPali became one of the enlightened female monks among Buddha's disciples. If we reflect on our lives, we often find that sexual thoughts begin to emerge in our minds, leading us to indulge in fulfilling our desires. Sometimes people resort to activities like masturbation to satisfy these urges. However, regardless of how much one tries to satisfy these desires, they never seem to be fully satiated. In various traditions, sexual energy is seen as vital energy, often referred to as semen that should not be squandered. Instead, it is believed that conserving this energy can lead to greater vitality and well-being. We have the potential to make significant progress and achieve success in various areas of life. However, it's crucial to understand that merely suppressing sexual desires isn't the right approach. Suppression may lead to issues like mental stress or physical side effects. Instead, the focus should be on redirecting the energy that drives sexual desire. According to yogic science, every individual possesses sexual energy within their body. Rather than suppressing this energy, it can be channeled and redirected towards constructive pursuits. This redirection allows us to harness the power of our sexual energy in a positive and transformative manner. In a typical human, sexual energy naturally flows downward, giving rise to sexual desires within us. However, through prolonged meditation practice, this sexual energy gradually begins to rise upwards. As it ascends, it undergoes a transformation into spiritual energy, often referred to as ojas. Ojas is a potent spiritual energy that becomes stored up in the brain. Through the transmutation of sexual energy into ojas, individuals may experience heightened spiritual awareness and vitality. This process represents a profound shift from physical desires to spiritual enlightenment. A person who possesses a substantial amount of ojas in their brain can accomplish immense mental feats. They exhibit exceptional intelligence and radiate a magnetic aura from their face. With just a few words, they have the power to influence others profoundly. Even a brief speech from them leaves an indelible impression on the minds of listeners. Examples of such extraordinary individuals include Gautam Buddha, Paramhansa Yogananda, Swami Vivekananda, and Ramana Maharishi. These great personalities exemplify the transformative potential of harnessing ojas and channeling it towards spiritual enlightenment and profound impact on humanity. Hence, if you seek liberation from thoughts of lust, keep in mind that with a steadfast meditation practice and pure thoughts, you can elevate your sexual energy into spiritual energy. By doing so, you not only gain control over your desires, but also pave the way for both spiritual and material success in your life. By redirecting your sexual energy towards spiritual pursuits, you can transcend the limitations of physical desires and unlock a profound sense of fulfillment. This transformation not only enriches your spiritual journey, but also empowers you to achieve greatness in all aspects of your life. It's natural to wonder why unwanted bad thoughts pop into our minds, despite our efforts to prevent them. Our mind is a complex entity, serving as both our greatest ally and adversary. When we allow our minds to roam freely, they can lead us astray, filling our thoughts with negativity and temptation. However, finding a balance within the mind is key. By cultivating mindfulness and practicing self-awareness, we can harness the power of our thoughts rather than allowing them to control us. Striking this balance allows us to navigate life's challenges with clarity and purpose. Ironically, the more we try to suppress unwanted thoughts, the stronger they often become. Instead, acknowledging their presence without judgment and gently redirecting our focus can help diminish their influence. Through patience, practice, and understanding, we can cultivate a harmonious relationship with our minds, leading to greater peace and fulfillment in our lives. Indeed, the more we try to avoid something, the more it tends to persist. Instead of running away from it, maintaining balance is essential. There's a story about a young man who approached Gautam Buddha with a similar concern. The young man expressed his distress to Buddha, saying, "Oh Buddha, why do I constantly find dirty thoughts filling my mind? I don't want these impure thoughts, but they keep arising, especially thoughts of lust. It's causing me great anguish." In response, Buddha listened attentively to the young man's plight, understanding the internal struggle he was facing. Buddha, with a gentle smile, engaged the young man in conversation. "Do you truly understand what lust is?" he asked. The young man replied honestly, "Buddha, I'm not entirely sure what lust is, but I know it feels like a powerful force that often overwhelms me. It feels like something negative." Buddha nodded thoughtfully, acknowledging the young man's perception of lust as something inherently negative. He then began to offer insights to help the young man gain a deeper understanding of his experiences and how to navigate them with greater clarity and peace. And Buddha gently guided the young man, saying, "Firstly, it's important to understand that what naturally exists within us is not inherently bad. Everything serves a purpose in our lives in some way or another. Lust in itself is not a negative thing. It's a feeling that arises in our minds when we perceive a lack of something or desire for something else. Just like if you're lacking money, you naturally desire to acquire it." With this perspective, Buddha encouraged the young man to recognize that feelings of lust are a natural part of human experience and not something to be judged harshly. Instead, they can serve as signals, guiding us to understand our desires and motivations more deeply. Buddha continued to enlighten the young man, explaining, "Lust isn't something that comes from an external source. It resides within us, a natural aspect of human existence. In essence, it's a feeling of need, a desire that arises within our minds. When this need is primarily physical, we refer to it as sexual lust." Listening intently, the young man absorbed Buddha's teachings. Seeking further clarity, he asked, "But where does this feeling come from? How does it manifest?" Buddha replied with wisdom, "This feeling is inherent within us, an essential part of our nature. It serves a purpose in the continuation and expansion of the human race." The young man pondered Buddha's words and asked, "If lust is natural and necessary, why is it often perceived as wrong?" Buddha gently explained, "The issue lies in how people perceive and handle lust. Many have mistakenly labeled lust as inherently wrong. They try to hide it or suppress it, which only leads to internal conflict. Lust itself is not wrong," Buddha clarified. "However, it becomes problematic when it's misused or excessively indulged in. When people begin to live solely for their desires, constantly fixating on what they want, that's when it becomes harmful." He emphasized the importance of balance and mindfulness, urging the young man to understand and respect the natural impulses within himself, while avoiding their misuse or overindulgence. Buddha gently continued the conversation. "Do you realize that even animals engage in sexual behavior?" The young man nodded in agreement. "Yes, Buddha, even animals experience lust, as it is crucial for their reproduction and continuation of their species." Buddha then posed a thought-provoking question. "Why then do we not consider the lust of animals wrong?" The young man admitted his uncertainty, prompting Buddha to provide clarity. "Animals do not indulge in lust for pleasure," Buddha explained. "Their instinctual drive for procreation guides their behavior. Unlike humans, they do not misuse or excessively indulge in lust for personal gratification. They simply fulfill their natural reproductive instincts." Buddha acknowledged the distinction between humans and animals in their approach to lust. "Nature hasn't endowed animals with the depth of understanding to make lust the foundation of their happiness," he remarked. "In contrast, humans utilize everything in nature for their own happiness, driven by their cognitive capacity. We humans have elevated sex and lust to the status of our primary sources of happiness," Buddha continued. "Although nature has provided these as means to propagate our lineage, we have elevated them to the pinnacle of our existence. Allowing lust to run unchecked is misguided." Reflecting on human behavior, Buddha delved deeper into the reasons behind unbridled lust. The dominance of lust arises from our innate desires and the pursuit of pleasure, he explained. When unchecked, it gains momentum, leading to its unbridled expression. Buddha, recognizing the young man's earnest desire for understanding, prepared to share profound insights. "Listen closely," he began, "and you'll unravel the intricate workings of lust. Through attentive listening, you'll find clarity and answers to all your questions. Are you ready?" The young man nodded eagerly, eager to absorb Buddha's wisdom. Thus, Gautam Buddha commenced his teachings. Once upon a time, there was a guru and his disciple who resided in an ashram. Each day, the disciple ventured into the nearby village to gather alms. Along the path to the village flowed a river, which he crossed daily on his way to collect offerings. One day, as he walked along the riverbank, he noticed a young boy hiding behind a tree, peering out cautiously. Curious, the disciple approached the boy and gently inquired, "Brother, what are you observing from behind this tree?" The boy responded sharply, "Don't you see what I'm seeing? Look at those girls fetching water from the river. They must be around 14 or 15 years old." Perplexed, the disciple retorted, "Why hide? They're just fetching water." But the boy's gaze remained fixed, and he exclaimed impatiently, "You fool, can't you see what I'm doing? Look at those enchanting maidens drawing water. Observe the elegance in their movements, the softness of their bodies, the graceful curve of their waists as they lift the pots. Notice how their hair flows like cascading waves of beauty." As the disciple looked at the girls again, he couldn't see anything special. At first, he felt fine, not scared of anything. But then, something changed. Suddenly, he started feeling uneasy and began to hide, watching the girls secretly. He felt shaky inside, realizing he was doing something wrong. "This isn't right," he told himself. "I need to leave." With this thought, he quickly left the place, wanting to avoid any further temptation. After returning to the ashram, the disciple tried to focus on his tasks, but the scene he had witnessed kept replaying in his mind. The temptation lingered, distracting him from his work. Every morning he found himself drawn to the riverbank, where he had previously seen the girls, despite his efforts to resist. There, he found the boy waiting, and they both surreptitiously observed the girls together. Day by day, the disciple's obsession grew. His mind became consumed by thoughts of the girls by the river, leaving little room for anything else. He struggled to focus on his duties at the ashram, unable to work properly. His sleep and appetite suffered, and restlessness plagued his mind. Even during the guru's almsgiving, his thoughts wandered elsewhere, fixated on the images that had captured his attention. Despite his efforts to resist, the allure of the girl's beauty held him captive, dominating his thoughts and actions. Observing his disciple's struggles, the guru decided to intervene. One day he called the disciple to him and proposed, "From now on, I will accompany you for almsgiving. We will go begging together." However, the disciple hesitated and declined the guru's offer, insisting, "No, Guruji, there's no need for that. I can manage alone." Understanding his disciple's reluctance, the guru relented and said, "All right, you may continue to go alone for almsgiving." Curious about his disciple's behavior, the guru decided to observe him discreetly. He left the ashram and quietly followed the disciple, intent on discovering the truth behind his actions. After a short distance, the guru noticed his disciple concealing himself behind a tree alongside another boy, both covertly observing something. Intrigued and concerned, the guru continued to watch, determined to understand the disciple's motives. Standing behind his disciple, the guru observed the scene unfolding before them. Peering through the foliage, he saw the disciple watching the girls fetching water from the river, hidden behind the tree like a criminal. Realizing the source of his disciple's distraction, the guru contemplated the situation. He understood the allure of the girl's beauty and the temptation it posed. With this insight, the guru formulated a plan to guide his disciple toward a path of clarity and understanding. Upon hearing the guru's question, the disciple was overcome with fear. Sweat formed on his brow, and he trembled uncontrollably, feeling as though he had been caught red-handed in a criminal act. His anxiety intensified, rendering him speechless and unable to articulate a response. Seeing the boy accompanying the disciple flee only heightened his nervousness. He struggled to form coherent words, his voice faltering. Avoiding eye contact with his teacher, he felt a sense of shame and guilt wash over him, unsure of how to confront the situation. Observing the disciple's distress, the guru addressed him with compassion. "My disciple is known for his fearlessness. Yet here you stand, trembling," he remarked gently. Why do you allow fear to govern your actions? Feeling remorseful, the disciple pleaded with his teacher, "Please forgive me. I was deceived by that boy, but I promise, from this day forward, I will never engage in such behavior again. Please forgive my transgression." The guru nodded understandingly and advised, "Remember, the company we keep influences our thoughts. Surround yourself with good company, and positive thoughts will follow." With this wisdom, the guru and disciple returned to the ashram, refocusing on their work. However, the disciple's journey back to the ashram took a different route, avoiding the temptation by the river. Despite his initial determination to change, he found himself struggling with growing feelings of anger and restlessness. This inner turmoil led him to lash out at his fellow disciples, disrupting the peace of the ashram. Finding himself consumed by inner turmoil, the disciple's behavior grew increasingly erratic. He neglected proper eating habits, barely consuming any food, and his health began to suffer. One night, the guru approached him, addressing his broken promise. "For you pledged to keep your mind under control," the guru reminded him gently. "How many times have you strayed from your promise?" With a heavy heart, the disciple realized the gravity of his actions and the disappointment he had caused his teacher. Moved by the disciple's remorse, the guru embraced him and gently wiped away his tears. "My child," he said softly, "I understand your struggle. It's not easy to control our thoughts, but you're not alone in this." With compassion in his voice, the guru continued, "Come with me, my dear disciple." Guiding him with reassurance, the guru led the disciple towards a path of understanding and inner peace, offering guidance and support every step of the way. In the tranquil setting of the ashram's garden, the guru pointed out the drains through which the river water flowed to nourish the plants. He then posed a challenge to the disciple, "Can you stop the flow of this water?" Confidently, the disciple responded, "Yes, Guruji, I can." He proceeded to block the drain with soil, momentarily halting the water's flow. However, to his surprise, after a brief pause, the water began to seep through the sand once more. Puzzled, the disciple looked to his teacher for guidance, unsure of why his efforts had failed to stop the flow of water as intended. Undeterred by the water's persistence, the disciple continued trying. He tossed pebbles into the drain, hoping to block the flow, but the water kept seeping through. Undaunted, he tried again with larger stones, but the water still found a way around them. Finally, with determination, he placed a big stone over the drain, successfully stopping the water. Proudly, he declared to his guru, "I've done it." The guru nodded in approval, but gently reminded him, "Blocking thoughts is like stopping this water. They find a way around obstacles. Instead, we must understand them deeply." The guru smiled and pointed out, "See, the water may seem stopped for now, but it found another way to flow around the blockage, either breaking the drain or spilling over the sides. Similarly, our thoughts find new paths to flow." As they observed, the water indeed changed its course, flowing forward once more. The guru continued, "Just like this water, your thoughts will find a way. Blocking them temporarily won't solve the problem." The disciple nodded in understanding as the guru emphasized the importance of understanding and addressing the root of the issue rather than simply trying to suppress it. The disciple, disheartened by the guru's analogy, asked, "Is there no way to escape from these intrusive thoughts?" The guru nodded and replied, "There is a way. The water originates from the river. If you change the course of the water at its source, it will change direction." With this insight, the guru led the disciple to the river, the origin of the water flowing into the garden. There he began to impart a profound lesson about addressing the root cause of one's thoughts and desires. The guru nodded, acknowledging the disciple's understanding. "Yes, it's true that blocking the water's path from the river would stop it from reaching the garden," he affirmed. "But consider this. If there's no water in the garden, how will the trees and plants survive? They rely on water for their nourishment and growth." The disciple paused, realizing the significance of the guru's point. "Without water, the garden would wither and die," he acknowledged. The guru smiled, imparting a valuable lesson. Similarly, simply blocking out thoughts may leave us barren. Instead, we must learn to redirect our thoughts towards positivity and growth. The disciple pondered deeply on this revelation. "I never considered this aspect," he admitted. It's essential for the water to reach the garden." The guru nodded in agreement. Indeed, some trees and plants require water daily for their survival. Without it, they will wither and die, he explained. Realizing the importance of a balanced approach, the disciple resolved, "We must ensure the water flows to the garden, but in a controlled and beneficial manner." The guru smiled, pleased with the disciple's understanding. "Exactly. We must find a way to channel the water effectively, nurturing the garden without allowing it to overwhelm." Upon understanding the importance of balance, the disciple opened the way for the water to flow into the garden once more. Pleased with his realization, the guru posed a question. "What would happen if we directed all the water from this river towards the garden?" The disciple responded promptly, "Gurudev, the excess water would flood the garden, destroying the trees and plants. It would lead to chaos and devastation." Smiling at the disciple's insight, the guru affirmed, "You understand it well. We must maintain balance in all aspects of life. Too little or too much of anything can lead to destruction. Our lives thrive on equilibrium." The guru conveyed a profound lesson to the disciple. "If I were to tell you not to think about mangoes, whose image would come to mind first?" The disciple pondered briefly before admitting that he would inevitably think of mangoes. The guru explained, "When we forcefully try to suppress impure thoughts, they tend to enter our minds even more strongly. Instead of suppressing them, we should understand and address them." Continuing, the guru emphasized, "Our impure thoughts often arise from associating with negative influences. Just as being around bad people can influence our thoughts, cultivating positive associations can lead to a more virtuous mindset." The disciple reflected on the guru's words, realizing how the influence of negative company had led him astray. "Gurudev, you're right. I lost my way," he admitted, acknowledging the impact of his associations. That night, the disciple found solace in sleep, his mind no longer plagued by restlessness. The following morning, he approached his work with renewed dedication and clarity, despite passing by the familiar spot where the boy still lingered, watching the girls from behind the tree. The disciple felt a newfound sense of peace and resolve within himself. He continued on his path, committed to maintaining his newfound balance and resisting the temptations that once ensnared him. The disciple led the guru to the riverbank where the girls were drawing water. With humility, he requested water from one of the girls, who graciously offered him some. Touched by her kindness, the disciple blessed her, wishing her well and filling her mindset with positive energy. A smile graced his face, reflecting a sense of inner peace and contentment, as if he had rediscovered something lost. With gratitude in his heart, he bid farewell to the girls and continued on his journey, guided by newfound clarity and resolve. As the disciple and the guru conversed by the river, the boy who had been hiding behind the tree approached them. Curious, he addressed the disciple, remarking on his change in behavior and newfound confidence. In response, the disciple shared words of wisdom with the boy, encouraging him to focus on self-improvement and building a meaningful future. He advised the boy to express his feelings to someone he liked and to pursue marriage if the feelings were mutual. Additionally, he urged the boy to invest his time wisely and strive to establish his identity. Inspired by the disciple's guidance and encouragement, the boy began to meet with him regularly. Under the disciple's mentorship, the boy resolved to break free from his old habits and pursue a path of personal growth and ambition. With newfound determination, he embarked on a journey to carve out a brighter future for himself. Indeed, the Guru's teachings resonate deeply with the profound impact of company on our thoughts and actions. Our associations shape our mindset and behaviors more than we may realize. Attempting to forcefully suppress impure thoughts often leads to their resurgence with greater intensity. Instead, understanding the root cause of our thoughts and addressing them at their source is essential. The Guru wisely observes that our thoughts can be influenced by the company we keep. Even in the absence of inherent sensuality, exposure to negative influences can overpower our inner purity. Therefore, it becomes imperative to choose our companions wisely, as they can either uplift or degrade our mental and spiritual well-being. Acknowledging the Guru's wisdom, the disciple admitted, "Gurudev, you are right. I had lost my way." With this realization, he found solace and slept peacefully that night. The following morning, rejuvenated by newfound clarity, the disciple approached his work with renewed dedication and wholeheartedness. Inspired by the Guru's guidance, he embraced each task with enthusiasm and purpose, ready to forge ahead on his journey of self-discovery and growth. In the morning, the disciple resumed his routine of seeking alms, following the familiar path where the boy had been watching the girls from behind the tree. Alongside the Guru, he ventured to the river where the girls were drawing water. Approaching the girls with humility, the disciple requested water, and one of them kindly offered him some. In a gesture of respect and gratitude, she touched the disciple's feet. Touched by her gesture, the disciple blessed her, wishing her well and hoping for her mindset to be filled with positive energy. This exchange left a lasting impression, emphasizing the power of kindness and goodwill in fostering positive connections between individuals. A smile of contentment graced the disciple's face, as if he had rediscovered something long lost within himself. With a renewed sense of purpose, he continued on his journey. Suddenly, the boy who had been hiding behind the tree approached the disciple. Curious about the change in the disciple's demeanor, the boy remarked, "You seem different today. You've seen everything up close, and now you've moved ahead of me." In response, the disciple offered sage advice to the boy. "We often get caught up in observing others," he explained. "Instead, focus on expressing your feelings to someone you like. If the feeling is mutual, consider marriage. But before that, strive to establish your identity. Don't waste your time idly." With these words of wisdom, the disciple hoped to inspire the boy to channel his energies towards self-improvement and meaningful pursuits rather than mere observation. With the disciple's guidance, the boy began meeting him daily, finding inspiration to abandon his old habits. Instead of lingering by the river, he embarked on a journey of self-improvement and personal growth. Reflecting on this transformation, the disciple emphasized the profound impact of company on one's thoughts and actions. "Change your company, change your thoughts," he reiterated, highlighting the importance of surrounding oneself with positive influences. Pleased with the disciple's understanding, the Guru inquired, "Have you found the answers to your questions?" The disciple nodded affirmatively, expressing gratitude to the Guru for his guidance. In this exchange, the disciple exemplified the transformative power of positive companionship and self-awareness, offering valuable lessons for personal development and fulfillment. The Guru imparted further wisdom to the disciple, advising him not to feel guilty when impure thoughts arise. He explained that such thoughts are a natural aspect of the human experience, shaped by thousands of years of evolutionary learning. Merely thinking or making vows will not instantly eradicate them. However, the Guru emphasized that the disciple possesses the power and energy to manage these thoughts with balance. As a living being with consciousness, the disciple has the freedom to navigate and experience various aspects of life. Through this journey, he can come to know himself more deeply. Thus, the key lies in embracing this power and using it wisely to maintain equilibrium amidst the ebb and flow of thoughts and experiences. This story teaches us the significance of our thoughts in shaping our future. Our thoughts act as a compass, guiding us towards our destination. By cultivating positive thoughts with unwavering determination, we can steer ourselves in the right direction and progress towards our goals. Leave a like for this video and share it at least one time to help us reach more people. Spread the gospel and change more lives by comment using the word wisdom. To further support the dissemination of this message, consider sharing this video with a friend or family member. Click the like button, subscribe to the channel, and enable notifications to stay updated with more content that nourishes the soul and uplifts the spirit. See you at next video.